Welcome to Can TV 21 Hotline. Let's talk etiquette. My name is Nathan Wright, and I'm the Executive Director of the Etiquette Foundation of Illinois. And I am so pleased to be here with you once more. Now, take advantage of this opportunity and call me. Please call me. I want to hear from you. I want some feedback. I want some commentary from you. You can reach us at area code 312-738-1060. It's right there below. You see that in that blue area there? That's our number. Give me a call. Let me hear from you. Now, what are we going to talk about today? Is this thing called etiquette-centered parenting. Etiquette-centered parenting. That's the subject for today. It's an awesome subject. It's the most important subject a parent or parents can really indulge in, can really be involved in, can really build the character of their children beyond your imaginations. Etiquette-centered parenting. Last week we talked about etiquette-centered mentoring. For all you great mentors out there, please, I'm hoping that you taking that lesson for heart and getting involved and teaching your young mentees how to be civilized, how to be great human beings. This is what's missing in our society. We're not raising great human beings. And yes, parents, you have an obligation to your child and your children to teach them this discipline, etiquette-centered parenting, meaning that you're going to be putting more emphasis on their behavior in the context of what this society has created for us. There's a set of rules of conduct that you need to instill in your children so that they can be great human beings and they have the intellectual ability to be that. But it's up to you as their parent to make sure you give them the right education and how to conduct themselves in this society in accordance to the rules of this society. Keep in mind, this is a rule-based society. Everything is based on rules of conduct. And so you have to continue to educate your child in this awesome discipline. And we have some lessons for you today. So you will be enlightened, and I'm sure you will enjoy having this concept as part of your raising of your child or your children. It is essential if you want to create the kinds of human beings that they can become as adults. Now I'm going to start with this first overhead here so we can get this show going. Okay. Etiquette-centered parenting is a 20-year program in teaching your children social values. Yes, social values. I mean, you have to do this, parents. You're not doing your job as a parent if you're not teaching them social values. You can't let the television teach them how to behave. You can't let the movies teach them what social conduct is. It's your responsibility as their parents to teach them social values. Now, our lessons for parents is fairly straightforward, and it's not complicated. You shouldn't have any problems in grasping what we're trying to get our parents to adopt and to place in their home and in their education for their children. You're the teacher. You're the first teacher. You're the most important teacher. And you have to step up and be that teacher to your child. Not let someone else teach them or influence them to have values that are counterproductive, that are negative, that are detrimental to their future well-being. Yes, there are values that are detrimental to your child's well-being. And you have to realize that, and they are out here teaching your child, influencing your child to adopt those values. So as a parent, you have to be able to step in there and educate your child just like you would send them to school to be educated in math, science, reading and writing and arithmetic. It's the same responsibility that you send your child off to school to learn. You have to step up and teach them the lessons that are critical to their survival in this society at this time in our history. Now I'm going to start with our 5-day program. We have a 5-day program. Yes, we do. In our 5-day program, each day before your child leaves your dwelling, you want to go over each of these 5 lessons with them. It's only 10-15 minutes at max. And what are you doing? You're teaching your child to intellectualize their behavior. You don't want them to be mimicking what they see others do. And yes, we tend to mimic a lot. And most of us learn how to behave by mimicking somebody else's conduct. So if you're living on the other side of the tracks and your child is watching the other young boys and girls behave, and they assume that that kind of behavior is okay and acceptable, and then they adopt it because that's a natural thing for any person to do. But it's up to you as their parent to make sure they understand there's a wider base of behavior that incorporates the entire society. And those are the rules of behavior you want them to learn. And the only way they're going to learn is you have to teach them. Okay? They're not teaching them in school, so you know they won't get it there. Okay? And the school is just a cesspool to teach them all the bad things when you really look at it. And go over there and sit there for a day and see what your child is exposed to, what they're learning socially. But let's get started on this first overhead lesson. And I hope you can, oh, that is awfully small. Oh, too small really to see. But let me read it to you, okay? I'm sorry. That type should have been a lot larger. And so let me read it to you. The first line here, right up there, it says, the everyday good manners goals. 1, teach your child how to be polite towards others. Now I'm going to give you Webster's dictionary definition of polite. Okay? Webster says polite is marked by or exhibiting an appearance of consideration, courtesy, and grace resulting sometimes from sincere considerations of others. Okay? Now, that was a little complicated, but you need to intellectualize it, so you need to go to the dictionary and what that word means. You need to have your child understand it from its definition from the dictionary, okay? Because this is a part of the word values that make up this society. Keep in mind the English language is our language. That's the language we teach our children. We can teach them 100 other languages, but the society, the primary language of the society is the English language, okay? And so you want them to master the English language. You want them to be able to intellectualize that language and use it in their diction, in their verbiage, in their grammar. All of these places you need to make sure they master the language, because the language has a lot to do with their income, okay? A lot to do with the income, that they will be happily rewarded by mastering the language, okay? All right, so here's A. Now, this is your first day, Monday through Friday. You start on Monday and you can go into Saturday and Sunday if you choose, but at least the 5 school days you want to go over these points with them. A, when someone says something nice to your child, teach them to say thank you. Not complicated. B, when someone gives your child something, teach them to say, thank you very much. And you want to practice this with them. You want to role play it. You want to make sure they make proper eye contact. Their body language is consistent with that sincerity that goes with thank you very much. Not just simply thank you. That's okay to say thank you in certain situations, but the thank you very much makes it a little more important. A little more value is added to your appreciation of what someone has done for you or given you. Okay? So you want to have them role play it out. Now, when they are role playing it out, they are intellectualizing it. They are incorporating it into their behavior. It's like any other discipline. Once you practice enough, you would hopefully get good at it. And the same thing applies with their social skills. Okay? C. When someone speaks to your child, teach them to say hi to other children. This is important. And hello to adults. So when your child is responding to an adult, they would say hello. Or speaking to an adult, they would say hello. If they're speaking to one of their peers, then they would say hi. That's fine, because they are talking to another peer. But if it's to an adult, they want to say, you want to teach them to say hello, because that's more respectful. Okay? And you role play with your child, have them repeat it several times. And you set up scenarios for them so that they can repeat this and they can begin to interlock this behavior into their psychic and into their value system. Okay? Now, 4. When an adult speaks to your child, teach them to say, yes, sir, or no, sir, or yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am. Why? Because when your child is speaking to an adult, it's important for them to show respect towards that adult. So to say yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, is going to win your child far more points of consideration than they would if they just said yes or no and not have any kind of indication that they have been raised to be respectful to adults. They have to know their place. They're not an equal to an adult. And so therefore you want to teach them to understand their place in society and their role as a child. Okay? So that's important. Yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Role play it out. Make sure they do it each and every time they speak to you or to any other adult. Okay? Make sure they say yes, sir. And have it with some energy, some vigor. Yes, sir. Mr. Jones, yes, sir. How are you, sir, today? That makes all the difference. And I see children every day. And when I get that kind of response from them, I'm looking at them in a way that I'm somewhat surprised, but then I see the parent, and now I understand how this parent has educated their child to be polite. And that's essentially what you're teaching your child. Okay, that's on the first day. Now I'm going to move down this list here. 2, teach your child how to be courteous to others. See, you have to ingrain this into them so they'll understand when this would be appropriate. Being courteous. Okay? And it's not that complicated or difficult. Now the definition of courteous, marked by respect for and consideration of others. That's what when you're courteous towards someone, that's exactly what you're doing. You're showing respect and consideration. This is another human being. So there's nothing wrong with them showing consideration and respect by being courteous. Okay? Now here are your examples. A, teach your child that it is good to let another person go before they do, or to hold the door open for a lady. I mean, when I see children acting that way, that says a lot, an awful lot about their home training. Their home school has taught them these little qualities of character. Okay? So that's what you're doing. B, teach your child how to introduce themselves to another person. Hello, my name is. Always start when you're introducing yourself. Teach your children to say, hello, my name is Nathan Wright. It's a pleasure to meet you. Have them say it 5, 10, 15 times. Reread it over and over again so it becomes natural for them to respond to someone like this. This is your job as their parent. You have an obligation to raise your child to be respectful. So you role play, you practice, you repeat it. When you send them out to play baseball and football and basketball practice, you want to take them to practice basketball so they can bounce the ball, and do it well and score when they get to the end of the court, do you not? This is why you taking them to basketball practice. Well, you have to take them to your school a social etiquette practice. Yes, same discipline, same workload that you have to do, getting them ready to go to play football practice or go to play basketball practice or whatever you want them to be good at. They first have to be good as a human being in this society. So you start practicing that discipline first before you take them to play basketball, okay? Or to practice basketball. Okay, the next one here is teach your child that being courteous towards another is a way to exhibit politeness and good manners. You empowering your child to be a great human being. This is what you're doing as that child's parent. This is serious business. This has an economic impact on your child 20 years later. Yes, it will. It's going to make the difference in between making $30,000 and $80,000. This is what we're talking about. Their economic survival. That's what we're talking about. You preparing them to go into the world and to be self-sufficient, where they can take care of themselves without depending on anyone. Anyone. And it's your job as a parent to prepare them to succeed and to be successful. Okay? The last one here. 3, teach your child how to be respectful to adults, especially their school teacher. You should never get a report that your child was disrespectful to the teacher. The teacher and you are like twins. That's your best friend. That's your most important ally, is that teacher. You and that teacher are on the same page. That teacher is trying to educate your child so that your child will have the skills to be able to be self-sufficient, where you won't have to continue to support your child beyond a certain age. See? So that teacher is very important. So if you want your child to respect you, and I'm sure you do, you want to make sure your child respects that teacher. It's just that simple. Parents, okay? Now, that's part of day 3. We're doing a 5-day thing here, so I'm still on day 3. Wednesday, Monday through Friday, right? Okay, 8. When they are acting in a disrespectful manner, your child, teach them to be considerate of others and their feelings. This is about how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about others, what we are going to do to contribute to a wholesome, positive environment, and have the kind of interactions and relationships that makes you feel much better as a human being. It is our responsibility collectively to contribute to that state of mind. We got a caller. Caller, you on the air?
Yes, good morning. Good evening, Mr. Wright.
Yes, good evening.
Okay, this is a great topic and much needed in our society and our family. And I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
The greatest enemy for the child while he's learning all these beautiful things you said is the home. I'll give you an example. It's good, I'm teaching my child, I'm training very good. But once, let's say a friend of mine or family call, I'm using a different language.
Yes.
And the child is right in the home and listening and seeing a double talk, double standard.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that itself can eliminate every sacrifice you made to teach. I wonder whether you can elaborate or speak a little bit on that. Thank you.
Yes.
Very great, Mr. Wright.
Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate that question you're asking. And it is an issue. We do have parents who act a certain way among themselves but expect their child to act differently. They're telling their child, if I curse you, you are not to curse. That's kind of a way of stating what I think you were trying to say or saying to me. You have to be a role model for your child. Even between you and your wife, you have to be a role. You have to be conscious that they are observing you. They are paying attention to every little thing you do, even the little subtle things you may do. So what do you want to do? You want to present to your child a very happy, loving couple. You and your wife express love and happiness among each other in front of your child. Because if you show this friction between you and her and the child is observing it, then you're going to have the child picking up those behaviors. Now, it may not be something that comes into that child's mind 20 or 30 years later. It may be subliminal in that child's mind. And then that child, as a boy, may then begin to mistreat his wife because long ago, for which he may have forgotten the specific incident, he's role playing, he's acting out what he has picked up in the home from his father. So we have to be very careful. You and your wife have to be on the same page in your presentation to your children. Whether you by yourself as an individual or you all are together as a couple. So when you think about how you want to present what a married, loving, happy family is, then you all know this is what you're going to have to present to your children. Now, I'm not saying that everyone is going to have, happiness, tranquility within your relationship with your wife 24/24. It's not probably going to happen that way. But what my parents did a long time ago, if they had some dispute about something, they would sit out in the car, in the driveway, and talk about it. And they would not make faces. I couldn't look at them, see them in the car, and they making faces, going on like that, So I would pick up what exactly was going on. So then occasionally they'd drive off and drive away. If they had to get a little heated, whatever, they would not be in front of the house, in front of us. So that's a lesson that I think you should definitely have to instill in your family. And with your friends coming to visit, you want certainly to remind them that the children are here, so be careful what you say and how you say it. Okay, because we want to give them a quality education as far as family life is concerned. And the other quick thing, because we only have a few minutes left, unfortunately, is the other quick thing is to make sure you control what's going into your child's head through the media. That's how they get into your child's head, through the media. And it may seem like it's fun and game and everybody's laughing, but they're still communicating values to your child that you may not approve of. And so what do you want to do? You want to make sure that you monitor what they see. There was a time when the house represented the family and the family values, and there's only two things in the house that came from the outside. There was a TV with 3 channels, and a radio. All of those values was established by that family within that house. But now it's coming from everywhere. Everywhere those values and those confusing your child about what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. So keep that in mind. But let me quickly go through some of these other things before my time runs out. Okay, I'm going to just put up a couple of things here. We talked about social values. The other one is, I didn't get a chance to get to that one, is Etiquette-Centered Parenting is a 20-year program in teaching moral values. Not religious values per se, but moral values in terms of ethical values. That's very, very, very important. And the other one I wanted to cover real quickly with you, and this one here is really kind of hitting the nail on the head here. Etiquette-centered parenting is placing less focus on fun and games, but more on securing their financial well-being in their adult lives. That's your role. That's your job as their parent, to get them prepared for adult life. The fun and games can be minimized. It's not that great. Oh, we're going to have some fun. We're going to play games. You spend thousands of hours playing games, whatever. And that's time lost. You'll never get that time back. So invest that time in getting your child prepared for adult life. This is serious business. No one is playing with them. No one's going to give them anything when they become adults. They're going to have to get it in the legal way, and it's up to you as their parents to make sure that they indeed understand what their responsibilities are in this society. Well, sorry, my time is up. Thanks to the caller for calling. I really appreciate that. Call next week, and we look forward to another great show with you on Let's Talk Etiquette.